GPI, Global Payment Innovation, has been a fantastic initiative launched by SWIFT to enable tracking of transactions, capturing all activities that take place during its life cycle. This is achieved by GPI Bank assigning a unique reference, which will be retained for the full life cycle, and this reference is known as the UETR. GPI is an opt-in service, and gladly Citi has been a market leader since the very beginning. This has given Citi the opportunity to provide feedback to SWIFT since the pilot phase. As soon as Citi committed to GPI, the Citi US and UK offices were identified as pilot branches. Both of these branches managed large volumes and gave the best opportunity to highlight the advantages of GPI. It was a 6-month cycle to move from the initial requirements phase through to first pilot transactions in production. There were a number of stages involved in the implementation to manage the change in the appropriate controlled way. As soon as the final rulebook was issued by SWIFT, the business requirements were identified and the development began with our in-house development team. We then moved to the planning phase, which comprised of 3 stages. First, the internal functional testing, then the bilateral testing with SWIFT, which ultimately certifies Citi as compliant for GPI. And finally, Citi was partnered up with 3 other banks for the pilot testing. These 3 phases, of course, had their challenges, and were very successful in identifying issues and enabling sufficient time to resolve them to ensure a smooth implementation. SWIFT introduced GPI in a phased approach, and Citi were at the forefront of these milestones. January 2017, Citi was the first pilot bank. The first phase included a 2-bank chain where both banks were GPI members. By April 2017, the status updates were being updated with SWIFT centrally, and more banks, including the intermediaries, were in the GPI flow. By November 2017, the scope expanded to all banks and no longer had to be GPI members. During the implementation, testing, controls and monitoring were all key requirements, and this highlighted the fantastic collaboration between Citi and SWIFT. From April 2017, as all status updates were now centralised at SWIFT, this enabled the next major milestone with GPI, which was the API feed. The API supported banks retrieving the data of all transactions for their bank. Citi have taken the feed in a pull mode, which is stored in a central master database, and is the feeder for customer insight tools. The data enables Citi to share the GPI tracking with our customers, developing the self-service options to provide insight into transactions outside of Citi as well as internally. As more branches and banks are live on GPI, the true benefits will be evidential, and Citi is committed to delivering on this. We are now looking forward to embracing the future phases of GPI and leveraging our digitalisation programme to realise these benefits to our clients.